Thank you, Coach. If you could just open it up with a quick recap of the game, and then we'll have questions for you.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot that went on in the game, but the whole story is, they're all big wins. There isn't any win that's not big, but that might have been our best, or at the very least, one of our best wins of the year when you throw all circumstances out there on the table. Coming back from yesterday, not a lot of sleep, early wake up, facing, a guy who came into the SEC is labeled as one of the best lefties in the conference and one of the best closers in the country, sitting down there waiting too. That's in everyone's mind, everything that went on. But it's a tough group of kids. We didn't have any magic speech or anything like that. They just like to compete, and they kind of seem to like the bounce back thing more than anything. Ready for whatever you got.
All right, thanks, Coach. Mike is up first.
Yeah, Tony, what did you see from Chad early on, just with the way that he attacked, and especially how he maneuvered that third inning where things could have gotten a little dicey?
Well, his first scrimmage inning on our campus, if I'm not mistaken, it was a leadoff double. And, we thought a lot of Chad. That's why he's on our campus. But it was just kind of interesting. Guy smoked the ball, and then he almost turned into a different guy with that runner at second, and he left him standing there in the scrimmage inning. So anytime you say something about your team, you can look at individuals and pick apart. So call it bounce back or some toughness or some resiliency. He seems to be at his best when his back is kind of up against the wall. But if you're just going to go the start of innings or the start of games, the beauty of coaching that kid is you kind of got a level of consistency there. He's not perfect, nor is anyone else, but you kind of get a consistent lead into the weekend or lead into the game. And I've said it over a million times, our guys really love that, and they play behind him. So we got a normal Chad Dallas, and then we also got Chad when he's at his best, like I said, when his back's up against the wall a little bit.
Got Ben, Troy.
Yes, Tony, I've got two for you. Just as a follow-up to Chad, were you pleased with the 93 pitches and the workload? Was that about where you wanted him today?
Yeah, and we were going to, I was teasing him that he wasn't going to get to see Allen again. That guy was hitting lasers, but he hits lasers off everybody. So we were going to give him until Allen, but, Skinner did such a good job against him with 2 strikes and also had barreled the ball earlier in the game. And just felt like it was good for him to go out on that note. He got us where we needed to be 3 times through the order, leave the game with a lead against an SEC team. That's huge. And so the one thing that I think you're kind of asking about too, the one good thing is we didn't have to overtax him. I mean, yes, he's started almost every weekend this year, but there was a weekend where there was a little bit of a break. We typically kind of ease our guys into longer, starts early in the season. And then on top of that, I really can't reflect and remember an outing where we kind of pushed him to the brink where he was well over 100 pitches. So nothing's perfect, but, worked out well.
Center fielder, it kind of felt like y'all hit the ball a little bit. Like yesterday, you just found holes and got some over the wall today. Did it kind of feel like that to you as well?
Yeah, I think if you put together competitive or quality at-bats, odds will be in your favor. And that could be over the course of a game, a weekend, or a season, or a tournament. But you're not always going to get what you want. Even if you throw a good pitch, especially with high level of competition, the guy might square it up. Even though you maybe make a great play or turn a double play, the guy may beat it by a step. So, I spoke on the toughness part of our team. I think those guys are willing to put bad at-bats behind them and compete, or a bad swing behind them. And again, if you have those types of at-bats, then you'll find enough holes and all that stuff. I mean, Mississippi State hammered a couple balls too that we caught today, but at the end of the day, you make your own breaks.
Tony, as a manager, wasn't it to jump out to that big lead early so you don't have to worry about doing the mental gymnastics of making sure guys are ready for the regional and all that stuff in terms of pitching and all that?
Yeah, I mean, no one's bags were packed today, but there would have been an obvious deal. I mean, just to flip it and look at Mississippi State, I mean, had the good pleasure of, legendary coach Ron Polk is around the facility and saw him, and we were just kind of chit-chatting about next week. And those guys will be plenty ready, and their fans will have them ready, and the SEC will have any team that maybe left here earlier than they want to, which is pretty much everybody unless you win the dang thing, the conference will have everybody ready, and they would have us ready regardless of how we go into the regional play. But no, what it really does is, Blade was in relief today, or was at least going to be available. We were not forced to do that. And then he gets one more start, repetition-wise, if we use him tomorrow. But at the very least, it'll be good to continue to get some guys some reps going into next weekend. So, again, nothing's in a perfect, dainty, nice little box. But our guys get another chance to compete in Hoover, which I know is what they wanted.
Yeah, Wes is next.
Yeah, Tony, I guess what kind of a jolt did y'all get from Pete's home run there? I mean, it's a tough lefty-lefty matchup. There's 2 outs. He just looked like he kind of got a fat one there and kind of did some damage with it. What kind of juice did that give the team?
It gave me, I'm going to be selfish, it gave me a huge jolt because the guy truly is one of the better bat control hitters in the country. And he's a starting hitter in the SEC, therefore he's one of the better hitters in the country. But like a lot of our guys, when they try too hard or go outside of themselves, they end up kind of marring or, taking away from their natural swing. And there wasn't a lot of effort to that swing. And kudos to him because, again, he's facing McLeod. So it was excellent work. And it gave the guys a jolt because we got a bunch of personalities. Some of them are goofier than others in our locker room. And Pete's just a guy that everybody cheers for. And, couldn't be happier for him when he does anything successful because they know he's always had their back. And kind of like Heflin and a few of the other guys that have been through thick and thin here, he's kind of literally bleeds orange. So it impacted the way the guys thought. It wasn't just about a 3-run lead.
Got Ryan next.
Liam was hitting the ball hard yesterday, but how good was it to see him have a big day, and how confident were you that his slump or cold stretch, whatever you want to call it, was going to be short-lived?
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to even South Carolina, a couple hard hit balls, in particular to right fielders, and yesterday hit a couple missiles. And so with the theme of, again, our team, you could either let that beat you down or you could come back with a little bit more determination. And there was something going on there with him in the cages. You just kind of felt it. He was determined to keep plowing ahead and just determined to have a good day. And the swings, delivered the same message or kind of said the same thing about the kid. So I hope I didn't step in front of him in his post-game interview, but he deserved that one, and we're obviously pretty dang blessed to have that guy leading off for us.
And then Troy found the stat, but Landon Sims had just given up 15 hits all season going into the game. I know it wasn't a super high leverage situation, but just how impressive was it you guys were able to get 5 hits on him?
Yeah, it's different for him when you're a closer and you go outside of your role. Circumstances change a little bit, but at the same time, we knew we had a good opportunity to face that guy today. And the one bit of confidence we can take is, again, the lefties we've seen in this league. I don't know who will play in the future outside of our conference, but it can't be anyone that's better. And then same thing, Leiter, Rucker, Cops, Sims. You'd be leaving other people out too if I kept going. Our guys have seemed to have a good approach against those guys. And, again, I think they like a little bit of the bounce-back thing or the challenge thing, or we played pretty well on the road. So I think all that stuff goes hand in hand. But we're very fortunate to do what we did, and then probably whoever has to face that guy the rest of the year is going to hate us because I don't know if he'll give up another run.
Got Tim next.
Hey, Tony, after the way yesterday's game ended and to see the way these kids bounce back, they didn't pack it in. They didn't say, hey, we'll just go win at the regional. What does that say about this team's character and grit?
If you just kind of go full circle, it's why we're where we're at. I mean, it's nice to hear people talk about winning the division or winning a certain amount of games in our league, but to this point, we've done a lot of good things. And you could interview Chad, or you could talk about Pete's home run. Each game's kind of got its own little individual story. But the entire story from start to finish with the group, including, I feel bad for every kid out there with the pandemic circumstances, but even just starting with stuff as simple as that. I mean, we really handled a lot of that stuff well. The GPA was super high. I mean, I don't mean to try and recruit you to our program, but this group in particular just seemed like everything that was thrown at them, they handled it pretty well. Heck, our first road trip, it was on the road. Most SEC teams started home, at least the warm weather ones. And our bus broke down like 30 minutes down the road. And adversity's kind of been thrown at them, just as it is every other club. And they seem to kind of like it, or at least at the very least they respond well.
Got Ben next.
Yeah, Tony, I wanted to ask about tomorrow's pitching plan, I guess. Do you anticipate Blake starting, and what would his workload look like if so, and how important is it to get Kirby some innings?
I think Curb was hot the first day, and I think it's important to have him in the mix. He's an important strike thrower for us. And then the fans certainly get excited whenever that goofy mustache and his hair come running out of the bullpen. So we'd like to use him. Obviously, like I kind of already mentioned, we'd like to use Blade in some capacity before we leave here. So, he can say postseason outing or whatever. But again, the competition level is something that prepares all of our guys. But we haven't made any final decisions, but those are two guys I definitely would like to see on the mound at some point before we leave here. And tomorrow's another, call it do or die if you want, but it's just a baseball game. So we'll have those guys ready to rock and roll.
Got time for one more. Wes, did you have another question?
Yes. Tony, when I guess it's kind of rare to have a game where you're done, you're on the road and you're done by or before lunchtime. So I guess I'm wondering what the rest of the day looks like for y'all. I mean, do you just go back to the hotel and kick it? Do you stay at the park and watch some games? What's that schedule like?
Yeah, I assume you or everyone else listening has never had a bad nap. So me and Chad were out in the locker room. We both said the same thing. It feels like it's 5 o'clock. So definitely everything's been turned upside down a little bit, but because there is that time, you can kind of get yourself sorted out with a couple meals and relax a little bit. And, you don't have to go crazy at the hotel preparing because we don't even necessarily know who we play. So just kind of recalibrate everything and get off your feet and relax. We won't have any super strategy or anything like that. It'll be wake up tomorrow and kind of have the same energy and approach that we had today, and we'll see where it leaves us.
Hey, Coach, we appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you guys. Take it easy.